Well, things are certainly heating up out there, folks, on day 2 of the campaign. Pierre Poillievre comes out swinging in Vaughan with an expose on Mark Carney, and we are going to go into that later. He also balisters a reporter because she dares ask about the security clearance. And guys, I mean blister in a good way. Come on in. Welcome to the show. My name is Parmesan. Da, da, da. Da, 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 da. Did it. Good morning, folks. How the heck are ya? I am your host today on Niagara Due North, the best place to get Canadian political news, guys. And on today's episode, Pierre goes on an onslaught in Vaughan, Ontario, and we are going to dive right in immediately. Let's get right in there. Click the like and subscribe button, guys, down below. Support the channel so I can keep bringing you the hottest news. So it was a very lively press conference at such a quiet construction site in suburban Vaughan today when Pierre just causes a murder scene for Mark Carney. And one of the first things he does is challenge him to the TVA debate anyways, and even offers to pay his way.
I want to challenge Mark Carney to show up for the debate at TVA in Quebec. He's running away and hiding because he believes that he's too weak to defend the lost Liberal decade or explain why he thinks Liberals deserve a fourth term. But let's have a debate in French where we put together the choice. Either a fourth Liberal term after costs and crime have gone up and our economy has gone down under the American thumb, or putting Canada first for a change with a new Conservative government that will build the homes. I'll even pay Mr. Carney's fee so that he can show up. We'll take that excuse away from him. Conservatives will even pay the fee to bring him out if he's not afraid. And by the way, if he is afraid to have the debate, how is he going to have the courage to stand up against Donald Trump? It's going to take someone who's strong enough to do that. And if he's not afraid, then he'll show up at that debate. I'm not afraid, and I'm ready to enjoy that debate with him.
Like music to my ears. It's almost as if he's ready. It's almost as if the Conservative Party of Canada, one of Canada's largest parties, is ready to go. Right? This guy is here. After that, he is announcing the sales tax on homes. Up to 1.3 million, fine, cool. He's been saying that for a long time. That's one of my big problems. He says, wait till the campaign. And we already knew he was cutting income tax, and we already knew he was about the sales tax. I want to hear something new. Sometimes he leaks it. Today he's going to leak one. And this next one right here, a journalist asks him if he's going to take away any of the dental care, any of the pharmacare that has been put in place. And not only does he say no, this guy goes on a tirade about many different topics. And I think he has a good idea for all of them, and we will see them come out later.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will now take questions from the floor.
Karanjit from Redacton, good morning. My question might not be directly related to today's announcement, but it's regarding affordable healthcare.
Yes.
Earlier, Mr. Jagmeet Singh and recently Mr. Mark Carney stated that policies like dental care and pharmacare would be at risk if you became Prime Minister. Given your past opposition to expanding federal healthcare programs, do you plan to roll back these initiatives if elected?
We will protect these programs, and no one who has them will lose them. And I would note, let's go through them one at a time. We will make sure that nobody loses their dental care. We will also, on child care, we all believe that there should be more affordable child care in this country. The Liberals, though, have imposed a massive top-down bureaucratic system that has actually meant 120,000 fewer kids have daycare spaces than when they first created the program. A third more families are struggling to get child care spaces than when the Liberals first created this program. Now they're making even more promises on the eve of an election, and in order to get a fourth term in power after the lost Liberal decade. Why do we have worse child care today than when the Liberals took office? Because they've imposed top-down, government knows best rules that have shut down private daycares that don't meet the government knows best model, the one-size-fits-all model, and most of the money has been consumed by bureaucracy. So while honoring the agreements on childcare with the provinces, we're going to give more freedom and flexibility to parents, providers, and provinces to support the child care of all the kids. Why do the Liberals want to leave kids out in the cold if their parents are night shift workers or work on weekends? Why do they want to leave kids out in the cold if their parents have opted for private child care or home-based child care? We should support all child care options by having more flexibility. Then parents can decide which child care options they favor. Provinces can decide how to deliver those services on the front line with more flexibility and freedom for parents, provinces, and providers. We'll massively expand the availability of child care and reduce the bureaucracy that stands in the way. Thank you very much.
En français.
One other thing, you mentioned health care. I mean, after the lost Liberal decade, we have 6 million people without a family doctor, and wait lines are longer than ever. We have an obvious solution. There's the low-hanging fruit here. We have 20,000 immigrant doctors, 32,000 immigrant nurses who can't work. 85% of Filipino nurses in Canada are banned from working in nursing. This is nuts. When I went to get my eye surgery, because my glasses fell off, so I needed eye surgery, the technician there, he flies to Dubai and does 10 days back-to-back of surgeries there as a full eye doctor. But here in Canada, we won't let him work as a doctor. Then I walked around this, when I went back a year later for my checkup, I found out there were 5 full doctors at this facility who are immigrants to Canada that have to work as technicians when we have a doctor shortage. And this fellow, he actually, is it that Emirati eyeballs are different than Canadian eyeballs? Why isn't he able to do eye surgery on the Emiratis but not on the Canadians? Well, the answer is there's 7 years of bureaucracy he'd have to go through. In Toronto, they say if you have a heart attack, don't call 911. Call Uber, because the driver is probably a doctor. Why isn't he a doctor serving patients? The answer is we need a blue seal. We have it in the trades. It's called the red seal. You can take a test, prove you're qualified up to a Canadian standard, our high standards, prove you're hitting our standard. We give you a license and then get the provinces to recognize that license so that we can have thousands of more doctors, nurses, and also architects, engineers, and others. That is the simplest way to get our hospitals filled up with more doctors today and reduce these wait lines. Donc, en français, on va...
See, that was a borderline rant, folks. That was a borderline rant, and it shows this guy is ready to go. In this next clip, I don't know if he had pre-done questions already because it's election time. I don't know if it's that curated that everywhere they go they have pre-questions, but this guy came prepared with the article that this reporter is talking about.
Thank you. Next question.
Hi, Pierre. I'm Surya from Y Media.
Yes, sir.
So, Globe and Mail has done a story on election interference on conservative leadership campaign. What are your comments on that?
Well, first of all, let's quote from that Globe and Mail article. I'm going to quote here. CSIS also did not have evidence that Mr. Poillievre or members of his inner circle were aware of these alleged actions. Then I'm going to quote the Hogue Commission, and I quote, "The Commission heard testimony about allegations of the government India interference in the Conservative Party leadership race. CSIS witnesses noted that they had no reason to believe the impacted candidates would have been aware of the alleged support." Let's be honest. I won the leadership fair and square. Even my political competitors, like Mr. Patrick Brown, have publicly testified under oath that that was the case. But I'm glad that the Liberals put this attack out today. Really glad.
Now, what you're about to see is rated R, and we might get kicked off of YouTube for this.
Because there's something that's really been worrying me. After Justin Trudeau named Mark Carney his economic advisor, giving him massive power over public policy in Canada, Mr. Carney went over for meetings in Beijing where he just had secret talks with the deputy governor of the Chinese central bank. 2 weeks later, Brookfield got a $250 million loan. What did they talk about? What did Mr. Carney in his role as Trudeau's economic advisor offer China? Why would he be having secret meetings with top government-controlled bankers about getting a $250 million loan while he was supposed to be acting in Canada's interest as the Prime Minister's economic advisor? Why would he be collaborating with a hostile foreign regime that we have since learned executed 4 Canadians and took numerous Canadians hostage for a lengthy period of time? And given that Mr. Carney knows that he still owns massive financial interests in Brookfield, which owes a $250 million to a Chinese state-controlled bank, how do we know he's not going to act against our interests in favor of his financial interests? Why didn't he stand in front of this microphone and confess to Canadians that he owes the Chinese government that kind of money? Is this why he's covering up his financial interests? And given that China has murdered our people, taken our people hostage, how is he ever going to stand up to foreign interference when he is so financially compromised? We have never in our history had a weak, out-of-touch leader so terribly compromised and conflicted, whose interests go against our national interests. And I call on Mr. Carney right now to come before a microphone today and explain if this loan is still in place and if he still has those Brookfield assets that he had up until a few weeks ago. Because we cannot trust someone. Could you imagine, while you're supposed to be advising Canada's Prime Minister on the well-being of our economy, going to a foreign regime that had executed Canadian citizens, taken Canadians hostage, that it had already been public that they had interfered in multiple elections. They've done incursions into our northern waters. Mark Carney will never be able to protect our national interests because he has massive financial conflicts of interest overseas. What we need now is not to give the Liberals a 4th term with a weak and compromised leader. What we need is a Prime Minister who will put Canada first for a change. Away.
He just body bagged Mark Carney. This is day 2. 35 more days to go, folks. Like and subscribe down below. Send a comment and support this channel. I will bring you this stuff every day. This is something that nobody knew about. How much more of this onslaught do these guys have up their sleeve? These guys have been wanting an election for 2 years. Mark Carney has no idea what he's messing with. And guys, this goes on this goes on the whole time. And in this last clip, a reporter dares ask about the security clearance. And this guy has come armed, ready for these questions. He is ready for the liberal onslaught that they are trying to put on him.
One, on the security clearance, I've already had a security clearance. What I will not do is because I was a cabinet minister, so I've already been cleared. What I will not do is commit to the oath of secrecy that the Liberals want to impose on me. They don't want me to be able to speak about these matters. So they bring me into a dark room and they'll say, we're going to give you a little bit of breadcrumbs of intel, and then we'll tell you can't talk about any of this stuff anymore. So for example, if they'd given me some kind of cursory briefing on China, then they would say, oh, you can't go talk about the fact that Mark Carney went off to Beijing and had secret meetings where he had secret talks with top government banking officials, after which a government bank gave his company a $250,000 loan, a loan that his company still owes, and a company in which he's still invested, meaning that he is the most compromised and conflicted leader our country has ever seen. He did this after seeing that China had interfered in 2 consecutive elections. He did this after seeing China take 2 of our people hostage. He did this after knowing that China had made incursions into our waters. How will Mark Carney ever protect Canada against Beijing's incursions into our territory, its interference in our country, or it's taking our jobs and our industrial base away when he owes them so much? And I won't be silenced on any of those issues. I look forward to hearing Mark Carney's answers, and I hope that Canadian media actually starts asking him some questions about the nature of Brookfield's holdings. It really is incredible. The media has had some of this information, and I look forward to them actually asking questions. We have a guy who's prime minister who's never been elected to anything. He's the most unscrutinized leader our country has ever had, and he's by far the most conflicted. We're putting it out ourselves from now on, by the way. This is a guy whose company denied coal miners his insurance arm denied coal miners their payments when they were dying of black lung in the States. They lost in court. The company lost in court. How is he ever going to stand up for working class people when that's the track record he has? He used rent evictions, predatory financialization of real estate. How is he ever going to fix our housing crisis when that is his background? I've said in the past that he's just as bad as Justin Trudeau. Frankly, he's much worse, and he's much more conflicted, and he's going to be held accountable. On the debate, well, his excuses are changing from day to day. Mark Carney says he doesn't want to debate because there's a fee. Well, I'll pay the fee. He says that he doesn't want to debate because Elizabeth May has not been invited. Well, I'll invite her. So let's invite Elizabeth May. I'll pay the fee, so Mark Carney can't afford to pay $75,000. Conservatives are generous, we'll pay it for him. But if he's still too weak and fragile to debate at TVA, then he's too weak and fragile to stand up to Donald Trump and for our country. The debate is simple. Do we want to...
There you have it, folks. Is that not so exciting? I cannot wait. I cannot wait. I started my YouTube channel so I could cover the election, folks. And I had no idea it was going to be this exciting. Day 2. And guess what? As I'm recording this, he is doing another press conference. It's close to me. I can go to it, but I can't. So, you know, it's close to me, but it's still really far. What do you guys think about this press conference from Pierre? It really looks like the Conservative Party is prepared for this and unfazed. I have my criticisms of this campaign, but they seem to be unfazed. A juggernaut, a freight train, moving forward. This is great, and Pierre will bring it home, guys. Don't fear the polls. Don't fear the media. We are still looking at a supermajority. Comment down below, folks. I want to hear it. And see you later. I'm Parmesan, and this is Niagara Due North.